Everybody wants life to be greater, but almost all of us get stuck at times where something stops us. Something prevents us from doing something that we really are capable of doing, whether it's turning around our body or shifting a relationship or turning around our finances or maybe just being happy and fulfilled at a different level. We get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern, just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed. Sometimes we get stuck, not so much in anything but some habits of doing things a certain way. And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening, and the opening can come from a conversation, that can come from meeting somebody that inspires you. It can come from insight. It can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of something that snapped us and made us look at life through a different filter, in a different way. And it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says no more, I'm gonna change this, and suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way, or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make this shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve. Think about it in your own life. How could you have some area of your life where you raise your standard and your life has never been the same? Maybe at one time in your life you smoked cigarettes, or you did something and you did it for years and you kept trying to change it and kept telling yourself I should. And then one day something happened. Something just clicked you over. Something took you over that kind of tipping point, and inside yourself, you said no more. It was a very, very different experience, wasn't it? Something inside of you shifted, and what was a should become a must, and you've never gone back. Is there an area like that in your life? You can think of. Everybody wants to change. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody, I should say, wants progress, but nobody wants to change. Everybody wants your life better, but nobody wants to do the push-ups. The running has an economic or emotional discipline to make it happen. But if you're watching this right now and you're still with me, some part of you wants more, and I'm saying to you, choose it on the way you're gonna choose. It is really simple. If you're in that crisis, what keeps you in the crisis is probably because you're being reinforced. No. There have been areas in your life where some point in time, you just shifted and you raised the standard. Your life changed because whatever people have their identity attached, they live. We live who we believe we are. That's just how it works. Most people overeat, or they smoke, or they drink, or they yell at people. They keep doing it because they're rewarded. Whatever it gets rewarded, gets reinforced. Whatever habit or behavior is reinforced, it comes as a habit. And then pretty soon do it long enough to become a part of personality. And pretty soon you think it's who you are, and you just keep living that way. I mean, it's easy to see this in other people, right? It's easy to see how messed up they are and how easy they couldn't. They just make some new choices. All you got to just turn on the television, some news programs, entertainment programs, and you'll hear detailed descriptions about some person who is a very powerful celebrity who is doing some stupid things. Why do we see all the stuff on television? Why do we hear about every person you could imagine? From Lindsay Lohan to Britney Spears to all the way back to the old days? It was Elvis or Michael Jackson or whoever it is that's in the news. Today, in this stage of life in your country, you're watching this. It's because we want to see other people who make bad decisions so we can feel better about our own. But the reason those people don't change, Lindsay Lohan, she's got another do why. She's putting herself at risk. She's putting other people, or she could kill someone. She goes to jail, is supposed to be 90 days, but here's the consequence. It goes to 2 weeks on before she even gets out of jail. She makes a deal for an interview and gets paid $1 million. When she gets out for the interview, what do you think? The chances of her changing when her bad behavior gets her $1 million, and I don't know if she even makes that for that much time of acting at this stage. What do you think the chances are when people around her say, it's not your fault? It's not fair. They treat you unfairly as long as we have the decision that we're not responsible, it's not our fault. We can't change anything. We have no power, so don't know about time. You watch this if Lindsay will change, but if she did it because the enabler's era's gone, she's taken responsibility and she's found something she values more than attention and money for bad behavior. That was easy to look at that with her. But what about you and I? Were you and I addicted to our problems? Were you and I reinforced so many people will have a big problem? Listen, if things were going well, you say it's going so great, your friends go, well, that's great. And after a while, they go, well, easy for you. But if you got a problem, people, hey, I understand and connect with you. Where do we get addicted to our problems? If you want to make a new choice, if you want to make a new decision today, if you want to have a breakthrough in some area of life, you have to give up the story that it's not your fault, and you got to give up the attention and love and the connection and commiserating that comes with it with other human beings. When you start to connect your true nature, suddenly there's energy available for you to set a higher standard for what you want in your life. That's what this is really all about. And when I talk about standards, when I talk about, should versus must, think about your own life. One of the key little subjects we talk about on the weekend is the 7 fundamentals for wealth and happiness. That's one of them. Well, planned economics. It's fundamental if you want to do well, join the top 5%. Anybody in this room can join the top 5%. If you will make a list of the things you want, and on my list of things now I put everything, little things as well as major things. Doesn't matter how small it is. It goes on my list. I used to just put major things, cars, homes. I don't do that anymore. I now load my list with everything. Everything, and the reason is part of the fun of having a list is checking it off. That's it, boy. At the end of the day, if you could go, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Whatever it is, right, you get into the habit. So load up your list. The things you want. Now, when you check off something major, celebrate. That's an important point to make. Celebrate your achievements. Live it up. Have a party when you reach something you've worked for a while. See, we all grow from 2 experiences. One is called the pain of losing. The other one is called the joy of winning. We need both of them. Amplify him as much as you can, which also means make losing painful. If you set up something, fooled around, didn't get it, put it on yourself on the other side. If you did get it, congratulate yourself. Self-congratulation is a sign of maturity. Seeking congratulations is a sign of immaturity, but hey, winning and losing. See, that's what it's all about. That's the name of the game now. Some people lead such mediocre lives. At the end of the day, they don't know whether they're winning or losing. They got no clue, guy's just going through the day with his fingers crossed. Okay, here's the third category of goals. Personal development. Put those goals together. Personal development goals. That's your goal. To be stronger, more decisive. Be a speaker, be a leader, learn a language, all kinds of skills. The whole weekend seminar was designed to improve all your skills so that you walk away more skillful, and that's what you want. Personal development skills. That's what attracts. That's what brings good things to your life. The person, you become more skillful. Look at these 2 men. Do you know who they are? Most people don't. They're just a couple of ordinary guys. One, they're both gone now. But one was an ordinary beekeeper in Auckland, New Zealand, and the other a Sherpa guide from over around Nepal. Now there's Mount Everest. You know, for thousands of years, people have tried to get to the top of Mount Everest. People died doing it. It was believed it couldn't be done. People tried, but they didn't know how. And so they quit. There's a closer look at the mountain and where they placed their flag. They planted that flag in the mountain. Now, this is the 2 of them after they come down the mountain, and you know something. When they started, they did not know how, they didn't know how to get to the top of the mountain. And that's what stops most people, because they don't know how. As little kids we'd go, "Mummy, Daddy, I want this," and they say, How are you going to do that? It was a little kid. You don't know how to do it. But they did it in 1953 on the 29th of May. They were the first to get to the top of that mountain. They stood right on top of the world. You know, there have been over 1,000 people do it since then. I watched a young woman on Canadian television being interviewed, not very big. She had just come back from going to the top of Mount Everest and the reporter asked her. They said, "How does it feel now that you conquered the mountain?" We didn't conquer the mountain. That mountain can be conquered. We conquered the limitations that are within ourselves. Be prepared, understand. Put yourselves in the shoes of the people or the businesses that you're working with. The message that I just got on Cyberdust is a perfect example. If he would have put himself in my shoes, it would be obvious that Cyberdust is important to me. I'm trying to push everybody to message using it. I've volunteered, and Dave mentioned that hey, I'm gonna be answering questions long after this is over from you people from everybody sending me messages. So Cyberdust is obviously important to me. And so if you're able to do something that reflects something that's important to me or whoever it is that you're working or trying to get a job where they're trying to get an internship with. We're trying to get an investment from if you can put yourself in their shoes and put yourself in the context of what's important to them. Your chances of being successful increase 99% of 1,000 feet right. And one other point I'll leave with you right, if you're working for somebody, the best way to be successful is by reducing the stress of those around you. Yeah, it's not about you. It's always about me, but that's a different point. But it's not about you. So what? The people around you. If you're reducing the stress of the people around you, those are the people. Those people start to gravitate towards you. They want to work with you because you make going to work easier, more pleasant. You help them accomplish their goals. You help put them in a position to succeed by reducing their stress. Yeah.
Dreams are what caused thousands of people to leave their homes and families and start over in a land where anything was possible. To this day, dreams continue to bring people to our land of opportunity, to a country where you can start with little and end up with a lot, to America. Don't you sometimes wonder why so many immigrants who come to America can build a new life and a fortune while many of the people who were born here are barely surviving? They have a dream, a defined goal, ambition. I'm sure you've heard the saying, fish and company start to stink in 3 days. Well, that was one of hundreds of Ben Franklin's comments on life. Another was, diligence is the mother of good luck. You know, it's amazing how hard-working, smart-working people have all the luck. We sometimes hear of a brand new musical group, an overnight success. They must have been in the right place at the right time, knew the right people, had a friend to help them out. But if you've ever watched an interview with some of these folks, you'll probably hear that their overnight success took several years. Diligence is the mother of good luck. Now, in addition to these witticisms, Ben Franklin gave us 3 principles of success and ambition that have withstood the test of time. Number 1, happiness doesn't come from big pieces of great success, but from small advantages hammered out day by day. What Mr. Franklin is saying here is that we must be happy with what we've got when we're in pursuit of what we want. Too often we say, oh, I'll be happy when I just get that promotion. I'll be happy when I just land that contract. I'll be happy when I just have more money. I'll be happy when I just. Just what? You won't be any happier when you reach your goals than you are right now. It just doesn't work that way. Abraham Lincoln said it best. He said, you'll be as happy as you make up your mind to be. Right now, whether you're on your way, whether you've already gotten there, you'll be as happy as you make up your mind to be now. Right now. Being happy on the way doesn't mean you can't aim for great things. After all, look at everything Franklin accomplished in his lifetime. It means that big achievements come one small advantage at a time. It means that you've got to enjoy the journey. It means that you must enjoy and take pride in your little accomplishments. It means enjoying who you are becoming in pursuit of your eager desire, every day, every single day. Ben Franklin's second principle said that life is plastic. Within each of us is the power to mold ourselves and mold our environment. It is up to each of us to begin this molding process with a final product in mind. And it is within our power to work it and form it every minute, every day, every month, every year. By using your mind and your abilities and your attitude to work a little each day on molding your life, you'll soon see how magnificent your power is to gain those small advantages each day, the little steps it takes to build up to success. Principle number 3, success is a pleasure. If what you are doing today isn't satisfying, gratifying, guess what? You're really not successful. If you are not fulfilled with what you are doing today, you cannot possibly be successful. It doesn't matter how many worldly possessions you may have, how many cars, how many toys, how much money. If you're not happy with your life as it is, you cannot be successful. Now, I know that success is a relative term. It means different things to different people. To a school kid, success may mean a star on top of his latest test. To a homemaker, it probably means that she has a well-run household and a wonderful family. To an outside professional, it's most likely the thrill of closing a major contract, or the pride in accepting a performance bonus, or being named the top producing salesperson. But the one thing you will hear from everyone who is successful is that they are happy with who they are and what they are doing. They are happy, content, satisfied. Success is a pleasure.
We've been victims of weapons of mass distractions. And my children behind me, that reminds me. Took a minute. Well, I try and sit down. You either do or you don't. It's a process to achieve mastery. It's a process. And quitting does not make it any faster. You got to be willing to go all in for you, for your family, for a better life, for freedom. So you're calling your own shots where I just got tired of somebody telling me what time to be there, how long I could have a lunch break for, how much I'm worth. I had to ask for permission to go on vacation. I remember one time I did all the right things and asked in advance for vacation, and then he said no. Why? Y'all don't have to answer that. I just said no. And I remember going back to my desk, and I wrote probably 600 times, I'm getting up and out of here. Nobody's going to treat me like I'm a child, like I'm nothing. I mean, one time they cut my salary, said, you making too much money. Excuse me? I remember at the time, remember now, I'm 76. If you were an African American, you could not buy a newer car than the person you were working for. They would fire you. You've done so many demeaning things to us. That's why Richard Wright said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experiences of life. It's a miracle we are not crazy. It's a miracle. That's why you got to be hungry. And this day where we are right now, the people that are evil, the people that are of darkness, the people that are going all out to stop us, to hold us down, we got to be more determined and stronger and be willing to do whatever it takes to live our dreams and create a future for our children. You got to be stronger than the forces working against you. Can't take any breaks. No, absolutely not. This is the new way of being. This is different. This is a fight. I remember I was at a fight at Douglas Elementary School. I'll never forget with a guy. And during that year, they had a saying called time out. If you want to get involved in a conversation, you say time out, everybody stop, and then you get your point in. I was fighting with this guy, and one of my shoes came off. I said, time out, held my head, a hand up.
I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up. Somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about giving up. You are folding, you are caving in. This is for you.
You're in this storm and you're down on your knees and you're cold and you're weak and you feel like this is the end. You have a choice to either give up or keep going. Give up or get up.
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. So you've got to have some reasons that when life knocks you down, and it's going to, it's going to knock you down. When people disappoint you, and that's going to happen. When they betray you, and that's going to happen. When they lie to you, and that's going to happen. When they say, oh, you can count on me, and they won't show up, and that's going to happen. When you want to throw in the towel and give up yourself, and that's going to happen. When life collapses on you and catch you on the blind side, what reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason. Because when life had knocked me down, I said, life, I'm doing this because I want to make my mama proud of me. I'm doing this because I want my children to have a better life than what I have. I'm doing this because all my life I've been told I'd be a loser, that I wouldn't make it. I'm doing this to make them a lie. I believe, like Frank Sinatra, he said, the best revenge in life is massive success. I'm doing this so I can become massively successful. And with that kind of courage, with that kind of affirmation and reason to empower me, I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong, that can keep you in the game, that will be your rod and staff to comfort you, that can be your bridge over troubled waters? Those reasons are very important. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. So find out the reasons that you do what you do. Find out the reasons that will make you strong, that will make you walk by faith and not by sight, that will make you pursue your dream when everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more. And let me tell you something, that's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling, particularly people that you're doing it for, or people that stand to benefit the most, or people who should be the #1 members in the encouragement club, but they end up saying, you can't do it, and they become members of the discouragement club. Oh, it hurts very badly. I know what that's like. Have people that you love close to you that look at you with that look and say, why don't you try something else?
There are a few people in this room that know what it's like to be in a situation where everything in your flesh is saying give up. And yet you're in a situation where sometimes you're standing not because you're so strong, you just don't have any other option. You're just backed in a corner, you know, and it's not that you didn't think about quitting. It's not that you're so tenacious and so strong, but life has got you pressed in a corner and you simply cannot let go of anything. And you have to stand there in the middle of the storm and keep pumping your head with the faith to persevere and just say, just hang in there. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. Some kind of way you're going to get through this. Great people are people who don't cave in.
We all go through disappointments in life and things we don't understand. It's easy to get discouraged and lose our passion. But God won't allow anything to happen that will keep you from your purpose. And sometimes He'll move a person out of your life because they're limiting your growth. If you only knew what God was up to, you wouldn't live upset. If you only knew how He's going to connect the dots in your life, you'd get your passion back. Maybe you went through a loss. I know that's difficult, but if you only knew the new doors that are going to open, If you only knew that your latter days will be better than your former days. The best part of your life is still in front of you. You may be off course, thinking you've missed your destiny. If you only knew what great lengths God is going to go to get you back on course. You can't outrun the mercy of God. Don't sit around condemned, listening to the accuser. If you only knew what God was going to do, how He's not just going to restore you, He's going to put you back into purpose. The assignment He has for you didn't get canceled because you took a detour. You're still going to see dreams come to pass. If you only knew what God was doing behind the scenes, if you only knew how He's fighting battles for you, then you would trust Him. You would live from a place of peace. You wouldn't fight all the things you don't like. The disappointments, the betrayals. It was uncomfortable. It didn't make sense, but you wouldn't see your greatness without those challenges. You may have made mistakes, gone through bad breaks. God is saying to you, if you only knew how I'm going to make miracles out of your mistakes. You may have some big obstacles. You don't see how you can overcome the sickness, how you can accomplish your dream. But if you only knew who our God is, our God is alive. He still makes rivers out of deserts. He still brings walls down. Life may have thrown you a curve. You've settled where you are, thinking this is as good as it gets. Just accept those bad breaks limited you. That person that walked away soured your life. God is saying, if you only knew what I'm about to do. I'm about to honor you in front of your enemies. I'm about to free you from what looks permanent. I'm about to bring someone into your life better than you've imagined. The mistakes you made didn't cancel your destiny. You're about to see God show out in your life. See, we get stuck in the heartache, the disappointment, the shame. I should have done better. What was wrong with me? God knows we're human. Now, I'm not saying about being loose and doing whatever you want. When down deep you want to do the right thing, but you make mistakes, that is not going to stop your purpose. What will stop you is if you start living condemned, no passion. You can come up with good reasons why you can't be happy, why your business can't succeed. In your own strength, that may be true, but you're not on your own. The God who breathed life into you is saying, if you only knew the favor I'm about to show you, how I'm going to connect the dots, those things you don't understand that were painful, I saw them and they're going to all work for your good. Sometimes we're disappointed over what we've lost. The person walked away. We don't understand why it didn't work out. It meant so much to me. If you only knew where those disappointments are leading you, like with Joseph, you had to get pushed out. They had to be jealous. It's not that God has forgotten about you, it's that He's positioning you for greater influence. Will you keep a good attitude, not get bitter, not think you've seen your best days? Stay in faith when it doesn't make sense. Do the right thing when the wrong thing has happened. You've been through disappointments, injustice. That's a sign that something awesome is on the way. What God is about to do in your life will not just make up for every wrong, but it will be so rewarding you won't think about what you lost. Try a different approach and say, God, I trust you. If you only knew how He's going to connect the dots, you wouldn't fight everything that doesn't go your way. How your poor choices are not going to stop your destiny, then you'd get your passion back. You'd stir your faith up and start dreaming again, start believing again. If you only knew the gifts God has for you, you would believe big. You'd get rid of the guilt, let go of the discouragement, and get ready for something that you haven't seen. Chains that have held you back are being broken right now. Strongholds in your mind are coming down. The disappointments, the people that tried to stop you, it's all working for your good.
It will be all right in the end. Trust God and believe in good things to come.
If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person.
Beware of vision, dream, and passion killers. Family and friends, in most cases, sad to even say this, family and friends in most cases will be the first to try and talk you out of something that you're passionate, excited about, and that you have a vision for.
Who in your life right now comes up with a problem when you try to think through a solution? So when you say, I want to start my own business, I want to do Shopify, I want to do real estate, I want to create an information product, or whatever it is that you want to do, who in your life tells you you're nuts, tells you you're crazy, tells you that you should think through it more to stop being a dreamer, and you're ignoring it?
You're obsessed with what other people think about you. The thing that's going to kill your dream is your addiction to other people's approval.
You don't have to always inform everyone of your next move. You don't have to tell them about your business deals. You don't have to tell them about anything. You should seek assistance in fulfilling your needs by being secretive to a certain extent.
You know, if you don't surround yourself with other dreamers, here's what I know. If 9 of your friends are broke, you're going to be the 10th one. That's it. If 7 of your friends smoke, you're going to be number 8 if you stay with that circle of friends. You've got to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Most of the people that have no dreams will wake up every day trying to talk you out of your dreams. They have no goals. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. So they will talk you out of all the shit that you're excited about. It's really not expected of them to support you and have your back anyway. They life ain't shit, and if you're trying to do something with your life, they're gonna try and figure out a way to shut you and your plans down as well.
And here's the thing I want you to know right now. Most of the time you go, I can handle that negative person, my negative parent or boyfriend or girlfriend or friend or relative. No, you really can't. No, I'm being honest with you, you can't, because I had it my whole life. Even though you fight through it, you know they're wrong. If just 5% of their own insecurities, their lack of confidence to go for what they really want in life, if just 5% of that sticks in your life, it will create you playing small.
Trying to prove people wrong or right about you is a cheap level of motivation, and it will wear out. In other words, it's not the lack of it. It's not the best type. It's the symptom of the same disease. Right. So proving your family wrong or right is a symptom of the same disease, which is you are still obsessed with what other people are thinking about you and not doing things that make you happy, that enrich you, that fulfill your soul. And so the irony about spending your life worrying about what everybody else thinks about you, here's the irony, is that those people will never be thought about after they're dead. So they spend their life obsessing with everyone thinks about them, only to die and have no one ever remember them. Because people that are so obsessed with what other people think about them never really ever fulfill their potential. So once you can drop that addiction, whether it's friends, strangers, or your parents, and you begin to do things that fulfill you, that make you happy, that change other people's lives by your contribution, now you can be remembered. Now your life echoes into eternity, even if it was a quiet life.
Now, Albert Einstein had a quote. He said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. This is important information. Now, let me tell you the problem with your imagination. The problem with your imagination is you tell it to the wrong people. Do you know how many times God has showed you something in your imagination that you knew was just for you? You were so excited when it came to you, you went and you shared it with your family and friends. You know what they did? They shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they couldn't see it? Because God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. He showed you the evidence of things not seen. See, you gotta be careful when you share your imagination with small-minded people. Nobody else can see your imagination but you.
If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. Maybe a decision you've postponed, and now you understand the penalty of postponing that decision. You've got to do something, and finally you come to the conclusion, today is the day. I now decide. And whether you decide on a new direction, whether you decide to act when before you haven't acted, deciding can be such an incredibly important, very exciting, inspirational day. So that can be an incredible source of inspiration. Now, if you don't follow through, it's not going to last all that long. If you decide and then, postpone and you decide but you still don't get to it for a week or a month or a year, soon all that energy and that source of inspiration is all dissipated. So deciding is inspiring, but not for that long. But once you decide, it can be a very powerful day. But now, of course, now you must follow through.
Everything I've ever done started with a fear. But the best way for me to overcome fear is the dream has to be bigger than the fear. That's the only way you turn around and run at it. I just want something so great. I aim for stuff so big that the dream is bigger than the fear.
You cannot believe what can happen to your self-esteem. And many of you have already experienced it. I'm just asking you to begin something new in all the areas of your life. I'm asking you to start taking that stuff now that's in your head, that imagination, which is very powerful. And it's a great source of inspiration in itself. But then I'm asking you then to decide, use that inspiration. Then I'm asking you to make plans, begin to make plans, use that inspiration. And then if you take that first step, it can be the first step of an incredible journey. And beginning can be many things. Beginning a new commitment to learning. You say, I'm going to have a library second to none, and I bought the first book of my new library today. I'm going to be surrounded by information and inspiration. I've gotten started. This is just the first of many, many books. This is the first of a whole flow of information for me. This is the first time. Remember that. Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. Deciding is an unbelievable source of inspiration. But now beginning only lasts so long. Progress. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that. When you start jogging around the block, and at first it's a little difficult, and then it's 2 blocks, and then you go around 4 or 5 times. But then you notice you're breathing easier. You notice when you go up a flight of stairs, you're not out of breath. And it suddenly occurs to you, in a fairly short period of time, you're making progress. Then when you start making progress in your business, your ability to make contacts, your ability to talk to people. Being so shy, you decided one day, hey, I've had enough with being too shy. I've made the decision, I'm making some plans, I'm going to begin talking to people. And you start, and at first it's difficult. But then, very quickly, and it doesn't take a year, I'm telling you, it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take a week. I promise you, even though you're a little bit shy, if you'll just start to introduce yourself, if you'll just start to talk to someone you've never talked to before, but also understanding that with this new skill now, with this new ability, and with my progress, no telling what I can accomplish.
I really came close once, about 3 years ago. She was pretty, tall, trim. We both liked movies. I liked football, and she didn't mind football that much, so that was okay. But I really wanted to be sure we were doing the right thing. You know, marriage is such a big step. It's a lifelong commitment. So we were talking about the future, what our life might be like. And just like that, she said a couple of things that really bothered me. So I wanted to make double sure I was marrying the right girl. So I went home one night and I wrote down all the things that I wanted our relationship to be. I spelled everything out really clearly. I mean, I really thought this thing through. Religion, children, where we'd live, who our friends would be, because I didn't want there to be any doubts or misunderstandings. I wanted it to be clear. I even mentioned a couple of her bad habits. I thought it'd be a good idea if she had just a little constructive criticism. Well, the next time we got together, I brought this document out, and I thought that we would have a nice, easy conversation about it. And you couldn't believe her reaction. She blew up. I couldn't believe it. She told me straight where to go, and she called our engagement off right then and there. She actually said, "I don't need a boss, George, so just forget it." And you know, in thinking back, maybe I did go a little overboard, but it just seems to me that making that big a decision, you can't be too careful, right?
Wrong, George. Absolutely wrong. You can be too careful. In fact, you were too careful. The test of a successful person is not the ability to eliminate all problems before they arise, but rather to meet and work out difficulties when they do arise. We must be willing to make an intelligent compromise with perfection, or else we will wait forever because conditions will never be right. Cross bridges when you come to them, not before.
About 2 years ago, my wife and I lived in an apartment, one of those places out in the suburbs. It wasn't too big, but it was kind of nice. But it really cost a mint to rent, $750 a month, which was a lot, and we've been kind of saving up some money to buy a place of our own, knowing that that would take a long time. But what would happen is every time I made out the rent check, I thought, no, there's got to be a better way. This is not what I want to be doing. So one day when I was making out the rent check, I said to my wife, I said, Susan, let's go buy a place of our own. And she looked at me and she said, well, yeah, we can't do that. We've only got $6,000 in the bank. We need at least twice that much to make a down payment. And I said, well, nah, there's got to be a way to do this. I mean, people buy houses all the time. And why don't we just go for it and see if we can make it happen? So she said, okay, let's give it a try. And we started to look for places. We looked for about a week or so and came up with a nice place that we needed $15,000 to make a down payment for, which meant we needed to come up with another $9,000. It turned out we couldn't borrow the money from a bank. We went around to all of our banks, and we're kind of stuck for a bit, but then, see, it was a new house, and I thought I could go to the builder and maybe he could loan it to me. And I did, and he went with the idea. And that meant we only had to come up with another $450 a month to pay back this loan, because we're going to pay it back over a 2-year period. And we sat down and redid our budget and squeezed another $200 out of it. So we needed to find another $250. And then Susan had an idea. She said, well, wait a minute, I can maybe go talk to my boss because he's advertising for another part-time person. And she did. She explained the situation. We needed another $250, and she knew he couldn't afford to give her a raise, but if she could do this other job, he would get a good employee, we could get the money, and everybody be happy. Well, the guy was so surprised, he said, yeah, let's do it, let's go for it. So we did it. Everybody was happy. We're paying the house off now. We're living in a nice place. And I guess where there's a will, there is a way.
Jim and Susan get A's for action on this one. They didn't let obstacles stand in their way, and they didn't wait for things to be just right before they acted. They decided they wanted something, and they went for it. The resolution to take action ignited their minds to think of ways to accomplish their goals. On top of that, they both gained tremendously in new confidence. It'll be much easier for both of them to take action in future situations.
Both of these examples point up the benefits of action. You give your ideas value by acting on them. Again, regardless of how good an idea is, it is useless until you act on it. A good idea not acted upon brings tremendous psychological pain, but a good idea acted upon brings enormous mental satisfaction and peace of mind.